All right, well, perfect. Well, good morning or good afternoon, everybody from wherever you are in the country. Certainly appreciate you joining us for the end of March here for our podcast. Of course, I got Rob with me, my partner in this thing, Pro Broker Agency, and we're glad to try to put these together, and hopefully you're getting some good information. And we decided to invite back Clara Campano. Her information is in below, and if you've gone to her website, you'll know she's a pretty well-regarded coach, speaker, author, mentor. She does the Ninja training program for agents, and also provides a lot of guidance to managing brokers. So Rob, how are you this morning up in Vancouver?
I'm good. I was just going to pull up Clara's lovely website here, ClaraCampano.com. Lots of information on there if you guys want to check it out. ClaraCampano.com.
There I am. Yeah.
There you are. Nice branding. Looks great. Looks great. Yeah. But yeah, I'm doing great, Paul. Thanks for having me on. And obviously, we love doing these every month. But we like to provide some more value to our listeners and people who attend these episodes, and not just sit here and sell our products. So obviously that's why we've got, Clara on to talk today about the art of recruiting. Because as we know, in the real estate industry, especially in residential real estate, there's a lot of emotion based there. And, I think Paul and I being, CEOs and looking at data all day, and a lot of obviously people who run real estate offices love to look at data every day and transactions this, and pull that and all that kind of stuff and net gain. But when it comes to, I think, recruiting, still to this day, there's a relationship there between the office or the brokerage and the realtor. And I just love to, hear a little bit more about what Clara's got to say today about the art of recruiting.
Yes. So, well, thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure to be able to share, because in my real estate career, I've been in real estate since 1993, and I spent just over 10 years in leadership. So I know what all the brokers on the call are going through. I know how challenging it can be. And with our mindset, one of the things that my mentor always taught me is, when you are in leadership at a real estate firm, it's about three things: recruiting, retention, and driving production. And those are the things that we really need to focus on. And what I've known is that recruiting is an art form, and you want to make sure you're doing it the right way, because most of us want to look at long-term sustainability in our business, because recruiting can take a lot of time. I remember that one year I recruited to my office, I think it was 48 new agents. But by the end of the year, But by the end of the year, I only had a net of 8, because as quickly as I was recruiting them in, they were also going out the door. So there is an art to it, because you want to make sure you're bringing in the right people, but then also creating a culture where people want to stay. So I really want to go over a couple of different things today. As mentioned, I'm part of the Ninja Selling System, which is a system for real estate agents as well as leadership. We have a whole leadership academy, and it's all based on being more purposeful in building long-term sustainability in both your business and your life. One of the things I want people to understand is that there's really 2 different mindsets that you can have when you go through recruiting. You can have the transactional mindset or the relational mindset. And it's not that one is better than the other. It's just a matter of what is your vision as a leader. If your vision is to just have the biggest army out there, then the transactional model is going to be great for you, because it's going to allow you to get a bigger reach in and to, again, grow your numbers. If, however, you want to really focus more on a culture, then the relationship model is going to be better for you. And that's really where I live, because I just find that if you really want to look at that long-term success, you've got to be a better leader, and you've got to make sure that the culture that you're putting together is going to be one that is going to improve not only the working conditions, but raise the level of standards up. And that's really what we want to do. So a couple things to think about is, when you are recruiting, take time. You need to understand that you do not need them all. This is something that we tell all of our agents. We tell all of our agents, if there is somebody out there that you don't feel you're a good fit for, or you don't like them, walk away. Don't take on a listing that isn't going to sell. We need to do the same thing. If we're sitting down with someone and we just don't feel that they're going to be a good fit, it is okay to walk away. One of the things that we talk about in Ninja is this concept of the fruit bowl. And if you have a bowl of fruit, if there is one bad piece of fruit in the bowl, within a day or two, all the other pieces of fruit are going to go bad and spoil. The same thing is going to happen with your culture. Is if you don't have the right people in there, they are going to spoil the culture. Because the truth is we are only as good as our weakest link. And if our weakest links are not performing to the standards, it's going to pull the rest of the standards down. So take your time, do due diligence even before you meet with them. Look at their profiles on social media, because we already know they're looking at ours. So let's look at their profiles. Ask around. Do they have a reputation? Look at their business performance. And then when you meet with them, find out about them personally. Find out about what makes them tick. If you want to really look at doing some training in the area of teams, there is a gentleman and his name is Patrick Lencioni, and he is excellent. And I studied him a lot when I was getting my master's degree. And one of the things that he talks about is that when you are looking to bring on new people, you want to look for 3 keys: humble, hungry, and smart. Humble is, again, knowing that they're a part of something, that they always have that growth mindset. And even if they're at the top of their game, they still can learn more. Hungry, again, they're tenacious. They're out there. They're willing to do the work it's going to take. And smart means, more people smart. They understand, they have empathy, and they can connect with others. And you've got to look for those 3 things, because if I have somebody that's hungry and people smart, but they have too big of an ego, they might fit. They may be humble and smart, but not hungry, which means they're not going to produce. And then again, if they can't connect, at the end of the day, it's a people business. So we really want to look for those. So, key into some of those things. Go back to your vision as a leader. What is the reputation? What is the legacy you want to leave? And are these people going to feed into it? Are they going to help to enhance it? Because again, you want to create some company standards, and really doing that. Are they going to be a part of it? Because this really is, you can call it what you want, but it's really a marriage. It is a joining together. And our success is hinged on their success, and their success is also hinged on ours. So we really have to work on coming together. So some other things that you can do when you are recruiting is don't be the only person that meets them. Have them meet with other people on your team. Maybe have
Good idea.
A few other agents, that they can go to and talk to. Because again, we got to make sure, and they might ask questions or say things that we may miss out on. So you want to, look for that. Bring them in. If you have sales meetings, bring them into the sales meetings. Let them see how you operate. Let them see what it looks like to be a part of your culture. If you are looking for sort of the warm opening because they're on your pipeline, maybe hold some panels once a quarter and bring them in as a panelist. Call them and congratulate them on their new listings. Maybe even ask them, do you want to come in? We do an office tour. Do you want to add yours on and we will come tour it with our team? Already start to bring them in and start to break bread with them. But focus on building the relationships first. Because the truth is, I call it the Jan Brady syndrome. If you go out there and you're recruiting, we already know that the top agents get a lot of the love because they're the top agents and they get all the accolades. The newer agents get all the training, they get all the attention because they're the new babies. But Jan Brady gets missed. And it's those middle tier agents that are the ones that no one's paying attention to. So those are ones, those are the ones that you can really make an impact on. Because if you have someone that maybe is a $4, $5, $7 million producer, and you can bring them in and turn them into a 10 or plus $1 million producer, they'll stay with you forever. So target those, but build relationships with them. Pay attention to what they're doing. So again, really looking at that. The other thing that I want to talk about is the best source of business for us as far as recruiting is our current agents. And this is an area I see of missed opportunity across the board. We are out there and we are making it way harder than it needs to be. Because the truth is our agents are out there in the field. They know who's good and they know who is not good. They know that when that contract comes across, they can look at the name and be like, "Ooh, I love working with this agent," or not so much. We want to use our agents. Go to them, talk with them. Who are you working with? That's a rock star. Who are you working with that is going to add to our culture? And we don't always want to think that they're competing because, again, Everybody's competing, but there still is enough business for all of us to go around. I remember I had one of my agents, and he was always in the top 5. My mindset was, oh, I have to be careful if I bring on somebody that might knock him out. And he actually came to me. He's like, I wish you would have bring in more top producers because I'm hungry and I need people to catch. And when you have more people, he's like, I don't ever want to be number 1 because then I have no one to beat. So again, you want to make sure that you're bringing in these and you're constantly looking at them. So go to your agents, ask them after every transaction, what was the experience like working with that agent? And find out, because they know they've got the boots on the ground and they know so much more than we give them credit for. And I'll let one of you step in right now, because don't you have a tool that helps with that?
Yeah.
Well, the OnTask recruiter software.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We have the co-broke module. So every time one of your agents on the roster, because we load the roster, and every time they have a transaction, we will bring in the co-broke, and that ends up on your OnTask to-do list. And that's, as we've always said, that's a perfect opportunity to reach out to that other agent across the table, congratulate them, but also say, you might be a perfect fit for office. And then as Clara pointed out, since the person in your office that had the co-broke relationship, you can go to them and say, is this someone that you think would fit here and work with us? Because then again, you've got just multiple touch points for recruiting, but you also have that much more information to make the wise choice, as Clara is pointing out, for long-term sustainability.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually surprised because, I talk to brokers across the country every day about how few of them have a co-broker list put together. You've got 20, 30, 40, 50 agents in the office out there already building relationships for you with the agents in your community. There's not really another industry like that where you could recruit salespeople or members of your team by having members of your team already be out in the field, doing business with them, validating your business and the vibe and the culture of everything there, right? So yes, the tool that OnTask has for co-brokers is important, but it is something that I'm shocked when I talk to people, and they've got a busy office and they haven't had time to put that kind of a list together, because again, it was something I used to do at Remax 15 years ago, where it would, we'd call and say, hey, thanks for doing a deal with Steve. If you're already doing a business with Remax, why don't you come over here and talk to us about the office, right? Like, you're already working with our agents. Clearly you enjoy that, why not have a look at it? And I think that's, to kind of reflect on what Clara's saying there, an important piece of the puzzle, right? It's not like commercial real estate where everything is numbers and business and things like that. It is residential where there's a lot more emotion based there, and I think that, when you've got agents out there that can help you build relationships with people in the field and then take advantage of that by maybe just dropping in a phone call every once in a while and that type of thing to get appointments, it's a great thing, And Clara, what do you think about, having kind of multiple scripts or multiple ideas for recruiting? Do you think it's oh, we got someone saying something there. Carol Jordan. Hey, Carol, how are you? Nice. But, do you think, when you're looking at a recruiting plan, Claire, do you think it's important to have kind of multiple scripts or multiple ideas to target, or should you stick to one type of thing when you're reaching, when you're trying to decide what your vibe and your culture is like? Should you have kind of a couple of different ways to test the water, or one way? What do you think?
I think it all starts with your process. What is your process going to be? Again, just like if I'm an agent doing a listing, am I doing a 1-step or a 2-step? So again, you got to know what your process is. So, for me, the first step was always just, reaching out to them and telling them that I've heard some good things about them. And I would love an opportunity to hear about what they're doing, so that I can, just better understand them and maybe even support them, whether they're here with me or not. And then again, I was just bringing them in and saying, tell me about your goals, tell me about what's important to you. Tell me why those goals are important, because I already know everyone's going to come in and tell me, I want to make X amount of dollars. Okay, why? I want to know why, why is that important? Because again, that's going to key me into what is it that they're working for. There's also one of the things that we talk about in our trainings is that there's really 4 different types of agents. There's the agents that are, coachable and producing. There's ones that are coachable but not producing. There's ones that are not coachable but producing, and then the ones that are not coachable and not producing. Those are the things you want to look for, even with your own current agent database. Because if they're non-producers and they're not coachable, pass, because how are you going to help them? Again, if you're a transaction mindset, it doesn't matter. But if you're looking for those relationships in your culture, how are you going to help them? Because part of what we're bringing over is not just here so you can put our sign up in your yard. It's, I want to be a part of your business. I want to help you grow. If your job is to grow your business and make more money, I want to be a part of that. If your job is to do the same, but work less, I want to help you with that. So again, I've got to make sure that they are coachable and then hopefully producing. If they are producing, but not coachable, you're always going to have a few of those because they're kind of hands off. They don't cause you a lot of trouble, so you don't need to rock the boat. They're there when you know it. If they are coachable, but not producing, those are the golden goose right there, because those are the ones you absolutely know you can help. And what you want to do is you want to talk with them about their business. Where is their business coming from? Because you got to get to their points of pain. And then what you want to do is then show them how your company, how your culture is going to help them reach that level of production they want. So, but you've got to, dive deeper. And then again, if they're just kind of out there, a lot of times that they're producing, but they just don't, need you too much. Again, look at those, but you really want to get a pulse point, especially on if they're not coachable and not producing, because those are the ones that are going to ruin the fruit bowl for you. So I think again, doing that, but for me, I don't really have different scripts. I just really ask more questions that are going to tie me in to understand how they think, how they want to approach business. Are they willing to do what it's going to take? Do they have that business mindset?
So Clara,
well, that's an excellent point. Clara,
what you had
steamroller.
So you had, you said 40 recruits that 1 year, or 48 recruits, and everything you're saying, I think is great, but it's focused and time consuming. So, I mean, how much time should a managing broker expect to set aside a day or a month to let's say implement the strategies that you're pursuing, and or if they have a recruiter in their office even, or maybe through the use of some of Rob's services to help ease the burden with at least an introductory call. I mean, how can you accomplish all this in a limited amount of time?
Well, again, going back to what we do when we work with our agents, how much time do we tell our agents they need to be prospecting and building their business, because that's what they do. And if you go back to what I started with saying, the 3 tiers are recruit, retain, and drive production, that's a third. So I would say, a venture, probably a good, 20 to 30% of your time really needs to be out there recruiting new agents. But then there also needs to be time for your current agent base. So some of the things that we coach our leadership to do is, to do, a couple of hours a week of reach out calls. It could be maybe 30 minutes, or it could be a couple different 1 hour sessions. And that's where you're going and you're making calls to outside agents. Thank you for working with our agent, or, hey, I just saw that, you had a new listing, congratulations, whatever it is. But then also carving out about an hour a week to call your current agents and to connect with them and to break bread with them. Then you probably want to, walk the office. So walking the office, depending on how big your office is, could be 30 minutes, an hour in doing that. You probably want to have at least 2 recruiting calls a day, specifically to set up recruiting appointments. But all in all, when you do it, if you could spend 10 hours a week, you're going to be good, but it's got to be focused and intentional.
Got it.
And
another
consistent.
really consistent is a big thing. Another tool that
It's
a lot
like
of people are not doing, it's everything, but a lot of so many people hide behind technology, do things like handwritten notes, call them, let them hear you. Don't just send a text message. If you're going to have to do something, send a video to them. But again, it's a contact sport. You have to do that. And going back to consistency, it's everything. You have to understand this, because when I'm sitting down and working with an agent one-on-one, I tell them they have to time block. They have to time block, when they're going to reach out to their current clients, when they're going to reach out to people on their warm list. They've got to time block it, because that's their future business. It's the same thing. Our managers have got to get clear on what are the activities they're going to do, and they have got to time block those things and really make sure that they understand. But 10 hours a week would be a start for most people, because most people are probably spending less than 3 hours a week.
So
Well,
if
it's hard for
anyone
a
has any,
manager that's going to be, it's hard for a manager who's sitting there on the phone all day, taking in calls from realtors and putting out fires to do those outreach calls is what usually is the case. There's either a problem at the office where the managing broker is either still selling and busy doing that and then checking deals of the agents in the office, so doesn't have time to do the calls to build the relationships, or the broker owner himself or herself has got the same type of issue. So there's also a thing within there, while that reach out is being done, but let's just say anybody was doing that reach out, it's Monday and you're making calls and you're booking an appointment for yourself on Tuesday or Thursday. Let's say you give yourself a couple of days lead time in there between when you called and when you set the appointment. Now, a lot of people think that that's just great. I'm building a relationship. I called, I set an appointment, we're done. And that's one of the big mistakes that I see is that a lot of people don't look at recruiting in the real estate industry like it's sales. And that's why we have Clara on here, because she's a sales expert. I'm a sales guy. Paul's a CEO. But either way, we're always looking at how to put together deals. And that's one of the things is I don't think enough people look at recruiting like it's putting deals together.
Yeah.
Because it absolutely is.
It is.
And so if you booked an appointment on Wednesday from Monday and you didn't reach out to them Tuesday to say, hey, look forward to seeing you tomorrow, the chances are like 50% less, because they're like, oh, I didn't hear from him. All I got was an automated reminder. Does this guy really want to meet with me? And they start putting all these things against you in their mind that may not even be true. But you could have just sent a text saying, hey, is there anything I can help you out with today? Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great day. Is there anything I can help you out with? And if there's one thing that I've taken away from anything to do with sales or recruiting or anything like that, is that it takes a million touches usually to close something. If it takes 5 touches and you close it, great. That was an easy one, but I'm sure Clara can even relate, right? Like it takes a lot more touches.
And you have to understand this is a long game. I mean, especially if they're an experienced agent, they're not going to make a snap decision overnight. It could take them several months. So again, you've got to stay consistent with them. You've got to have some sort of program to be following up with them and to keep an eye on them, because it's not going to be, oh, we meet you and you sign on the dotted line. That is possible with a newer agent, but with the experienced ones, it's going to take a long time. And I do just want to make a comment. I want to make a comment on, we're so busy and we're deal doctoring all day long. Absolutely true. But there also is a way to still get this stuff done. And think of it this way. If I am sitting down, so if I'm the managing broker and Rob, you're my prospective agent. So you come in and you and I are in a recruiting appointment. And we go in the conference room or my office or whatever. I close the door and I'm in a recruiting office. If your phone rings, what do?
I send it to voicemail.
Because you're in an appointment. And does the world fall apart? Do your agents walk out the door? No, because they know that you are on an appointment. So you need to do the same thing with your recruiting calls. You go in and it's an appointment and you treat it like that. But you also let your agents and everyone know, just so you know, I do recruiting, calls X amount of times a week. So if you call and I don't respond right away, my goal is to always get back with you within an hour or whatever it may be, and doing those things. So again, it is possible. You just got to change your mindset on it.
Right.
And I've done this before. Again, I had an office of almost 200 agents. If I was deal doctoring all day long, I would get nothing done. And I actually got to a point where I purposely would not answer my phone and call them back in about 20 or 30 minutes. And 90% of the time, they're like, oh, I got it figured out.
Got it. Well, let's see if anyone else has questions out there. We're at about a half hour here, which is what my goal is. So if anyone wants to have a question they want to type in the chat box, we'll take a look at it. And then I guess, a pitch on OnTask, a lot of the things that Claire is talking about, we provide that information. So as was pointed out, we have the co-broke there. We have a following module. So as Clara was pointing out, especially with the experienced agents, this is a long-term recruiting process. Well, you can key them up in the following module. So every time they have a transaction, it pops into your dashboard and you can send them a quick congratulation, but that way you're kind of staying in touch with them. So we have those features as well. So
and there's a free 30-day trial for OnTask, obviously, it's a free trial. You know what I mean? At least you get the good data, you get a try system. If you want to try it on your own, it's a free trial. There's no strings attached.
Everyone
no
loves
strings
free.
Attached. Absolutely. But if you need someone to help you with OnTask,
And I'll throw plug out there. So anyone who's on here right now that is not an OnTask user, I will waive the $199 setup fee if you reference that you heard us on this podcast by I guess by the end of tomorrow. So
By the end of the
throw
year.
that out there.
Just kidding.
All right, I don't see any questions coming in, so why don't you put
Yeah.
a button on it, Clara, and we'll wrap this thing up.
Beautiful. I just think again, really.
Oh wait, we got a question.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Nora's typing here.
Oh, good. Well, while she's typing, I'll just say, we do have the ability to do it. Don't rush. Just like we tell our agents, you don't need everyone. Get very clear on what you want the vision for your office, your company, your culture to be, and make sure that you are recruiting to that vision. The right people will come to you. And also, again, letting your agents know, because talk about building retention, letting your current agents know we are selective in who we bring on, and we want you to be a part of that process. They're going to feel really good about it too.
And just like rising waters raise all boats, right? I mean, like you said, with that other experienced agent, they wanted a challenger, right?
Yeah.
They wanted someone in there. So, all right, here's the question. We are a flat fee model brokerage. Do you have any advice for our recruiters who are on this call on how they can be most effective in selling the flat fee model?
Absolutely. So it goes back to, again, just talking to your possible recruits. What's important to them? I can't start selling my company unless I know where they are coming from. So what you want to do is you really want to do some due diligence and ask them, one, if they're an experienced agent, where are they now? What's working for them there? What's not working for them there? How do they envision their future going? What are some of the biggest pitfalls, or what are some of the biggest areas of frustration for them? If it's a newer agent, again, what are your goals? What's important to you? And looking at these, because then once you do that, then you can come in and say, these are the challenges you have. Let's talk about some of the solutions that our company can do to help you overcome that. So go ahead.
Yeah, I think we always said, it can't just go right to the commission and money schedule. I mean, it just can't, because agents are looking for a lot more, right? They want to hear, how can you make their business grow? And I think if you say, I only recruit people that fit into my culture, and we see you are a fit, that's going to resonate much more with them than, hey, I can bump your split 5 points, or, waive the desk fee for the first month or something, right? Is that?
We, as a company that just is focused on doing outreach calls for brokerages, and all we do all day is, do hundreds and hundreds and thousands of calls for brokerages where we set appointments for recruiting. We look at different scripts and different things every day. So if anybody wants to talk to me about that stuff, please visit theprobroker.com and sign up for a free consultation with me or one of our VPs. But the thing is, like Paul is saying there, if you get straight into money and there are other flat fee businesses in your area, then you're competing against them. And once you get into a competition on price, there really is no bottom, right? You got people like Compass coming into towns and offering people $500,000 or whatever to steal their agents and things like that. So the finance thing will never have a bottom to it. And I always think that if there's a way where you can start selling your brokerage on asking questions about support and helping people with that type of thing, you're going to have more longevity to recruiting than just trying to just lower your fees and compete on fees all the time and that type of thing. And we have so many different scripts that we use every day for all of our clients. And some of them, the last thing they want us to bring up on the phone is the scripts. If they want to talk money, Rob, refer them over to me. We'll figure out the right deal for them. And again, that's the thing. You're building a relationship that's not just based on money, right? And a lot of people that, like Paul's saying, that resonates a lot better with them. You're not just developing something where it's like, this is what we're going to save you, this is what you're going to do, or talk about leads, that type of thing, the culture, talk about how long you've been in the business, other things, ask questions about their business so they feel the love, right? That's what I find usually works the best. And that's what we do when we bring on clients to Pro Broker Agency. We want to find out about your business. We want to find out about you. How did you come to own an office? How are you recruiting people? How are you doing all these things, right? Because at the end of the day, if there's one thing, if everybody could walk away with today, looking at it a little better, is that it is a sale. It is not recruiting. You are not calling and offering somebody $100,000 a year to join your brokerage. You're not going to change their life by offering them some executive salary. You're going to maybe be helping them with their branding, helping them with their lead generation, helping them with their support, helping them maybe like mentoring with an agent that does more business with them so they can make more money. Or if they're a business that the guy that's making too much money, there's some support there for them. There's so many other avenues to take other than to talk about finances, I find.
Right. Yep.
And that being said, we're raising our prices. So everybody who signs up today for calls only has to pay $800 a month. April 1st, it goes to 1,000. Sorry. But if you reference the podcast, you'll get to keep it at 800.
All right. I don't
Anyway.
see any more questions coming in. So again, thank you guys for all attending.
Thanks,
We will-
Clara. Thank you,
My
Thank you,
Clara.
pleasure. My
We will put
pleasure.
this video out there so
Yes.
you guys can share
Clara
it.
Capano.
Yep, revisit it. So with that, we'll bid adieu. Thank you
Take
all.
care. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.